They'll probably say, where exactly are you going with this? I see you really trying to take it there. Old school flows chew you out, ain't fair. Jordan pants don't...
Yo, what up YouTube? It's your boy Lil back at you outside. But anyways, like I said, I don't upload videos a lot just because it's oversaturated. Right now you got so many channels that are based on prison alone. It's just like, I feel like just is like pretty much wasting my time. Everybody's channel, they've been to the shoe, they did this, they did that, but then when you break it down and check their paperwork, shit don't be adding up. But that's not sending shots at nobody's channel, because at the end of the day, everybody is going to try to get the money the whatever way they can get it. Just like I do my thing. At the end of the day, like I said, I'm not the hardest uranium in the world. I rep my shit and I rep my section, and I'm 40 years old, about to be 41. So, I mean, there's only so much you can do, and there's only so much I can say on here. But the whole reason I made this video is because dudes continue to ask me about a shit that I already covered before. I chose to erase the video because it's really certain things that were said really wasn't too much of anybody's business. That's as far as like this North and the South thing. See, everybody that comes to the channel, you know, every once in a while you'll have these net bangers and you'll have these fools talking and shit about what they'll do. Look at, all honesty, at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, no matter what anybody says, look at, first and foremost, for the Norteños that come on here and they're wolfing and shit like that, let me just be honest, those are not Norteños, those are just net bangers. Cause the real motherfuckers, they're the ones sitting right now in the cage, sitting back, programming the way they're supposed to program. These dudes that be on here running their mouth, these are little kids, probably like their dads are the real Norteños, or you know, this fool. Like, I'm just gonna tell you like this, I don't really trip on them. It would be, how should I say, it would be fake of me being down south to be wolfing on a dude that's way the fuck up there. There's some cats that particularly like to come on my channel and say whatever they say, but at the end of the day, I ain't gonna diss them because, for one, they're way the fuck up there, and for two, if they're really with the smoke, they wouldn't be doing it on the keyboard. But that's pretty much the way of the 2000s and something. It's a whole different way of thinking. And that's not to say everybody that functioned in the 2000s, but for the most part, a lot of these cats, even a lot of older ones that try to proclaim to be something else. So it's like when you really go through their shit, it's like shit don't be adding up. And a lot of these cats that be doing these so-called prison channels, just tell them to put their paperwork out there. I can guarantee you they won't. There's a lot of DOs that are out there putting out shit. They're so, you can kind of tell because they'll talk about shit that they ain't supposed to talk about. And I mean, not just skirting around certain subjects, they go into detail. I'm just gonna be like this. Sorry if I'm, for the people that continuously ask me about the North and the South thing, I'm just gonna say like this. That shit has been, I won't say in the mix for a long time, but you were hearing rumors about this shit way back in the early 90s when the peace treaty first came out. Now, as far as why it happened, I'm not going to go into that because at the end of the day, everybody will have their own particular take on the situation. Some say, oh, it's because the PCs are being released and people needed to consolidate their I should say their ranks in order to be strong enough to repel what's coming out. I don't give a fuck how many PCs they got on them yards. It don't matter. They're gonna let you out, you're gonna get released, and you're gonna get blasted, and that's just the way it is. They're not taking no yards. Yeah, there's a vast majority of people over there that are just straight trash. Not saying that there wasn't no riders, but at the end of the day, how you gonna be a rider if you chose to fold in the first place? Because if you were really with the shit that you said you were with, you would have just took your medicine, whether it was death or not. Because you chose that life. You got fools that get involved in this shit thinking it's gonna be peachy cream, and then at the end of the day, they're faced with adversity and then they fold. I was faced with a gang adversity. I'm still faced with adversity. I'm 40 years old and still got fools that feel as if they need to push a line. I had some fucking lame yesterday run his mouth and then give me like 5 different addresses on where to pull up. See, it's shit like that. At the end of the day, it's like the homie said, these motherfuckers won't come to where you're at, but they'll give you an address so you go to where they're at, and then it's a whole different situation. Now this whole thing with the Sur in the North, it's just the way it is. Can't nobody change it. On the streets, as far as I know, it's still popping, but there is a lot of homies and a lot of Norteños just ain't really tripping on that shit. Like I said, for me to talk on it as far as like what I'll do to this Norteño, whatever, it would be fake, because at the end of the day, I'm not faced with the same adversity as the homies that are upstate. Now, for them to feel some type of serious animosity outside the homies that's been to Hawaii and have interact, there's a lot of us that never ran into a real Northanian in their whole life. They'll run into like lames and shit like that, just like some fools will run into other lames, you know what I mean? It's one of those things. All I'm gonna say on that, like I said, this may be beating around the bush, but at the end of the day, it's just really something I'm not supposed to speak on. Like I said, you got other channels that do it, and to each is their own. They suffer the consequences of what they say, and a lot of channels are just fucking dropouts, period, so they don't care about what they say, because at the end of the day, ain't nothing hasn't happened to them, and probably nothing's gonna happen to them until somebody picks up the mantle and come for their head. But for the most part, nobody's really tripping on dudes making videos on YouTube. It's just the way it is. Cats talk to say about me all the time, you're not an OG because you're on YouTube. Why is that? It's money. It's the same as selling dope. It's the same as doing this. It's the same as doing that. It's a hustle. You get on here, you tell a few stories about what you've been through, or somebody's interested in it, they follow. If they're not, they fall off. It's just the way it is. Now, my advice for the people that be really putting their real face and their real voice out there, like, oh, I'm not gonna listen to this and I'm not gonna listen to that. At the end of the day, you will follow suit just like anybody else. You may be on the street and be like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna do this, but when you get up in that fucking cage, you're gonna do exactly what you need to do, because if you don't do it, then you're gonna end up like the people that you hate the most, the dropouts on the other yard. And trust me, even though certain things they happen on the street, it's still too far killer for a lot of people. There's a lot of people that take your head off, or as I say, maybe not even homies. Maybe you went at it with a black gang, you did something to their homies, and then since you had a group, which is the homies, you had that little protection in prison. But once you ain't got that, you got to get back out there and get it on your own. So you're once again back at square one, fending for yourself. So for the most part, that's all I'm gonna say. Shit was made to go which way it was gonna go. The only ones I feel sorry for is the homies that are upstate that been dealing with the war constantly. Like I said, for the author that's down south, we don't deal with that shit. There's no Northanians down here, but up there they gotta deal. This is an actual fucking reality. Every day walking out your house, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna run into somebody. You see how it's cracking in Visalia. You see how it's cracking in Sac. You see how San Ho always been jumping. You see Stockton. You see all these spots. Fresno. You see all these spots where dudes function. And yeah, Fresno's Bulldogs and then the homies, but you do got structures out there too. So, you know, that's all I'm gonna really say on that. What I really want to talk to fools about is like this, man. At the end of the day, don't let this shit pump you up. Don't look at what's on here. Don't look at me and be like, oh, I want to be like this fool. Because there's a lot that are. You don't want to be like me, because at the end of the day, I'm pretty much a lost cause in a lot of ways, because a lot of things that I wouldn't want you to do, I still will do. I still adhere to certain rules. I may not be actively on the street still gangbanging, because it's just not my thing. I'm too old, you know what I mean? Fighting, that's different. If I have to go knuckle for knuckle, I've been taught that, you know what I mean? Like I said, for anybody that missed my video, Pacoima, San Fernando, Sun Valley, that's how I grew up. And it was head up. Sun Valley always rumbles. Pacoima always heads up, knuckle, fist to cuff. San Fernando, a lot of boxers out there, fools fucking getting them up. So I learned that from a young age. And that's not to try to glorify another gang, but that's just giving motherfuckers their props. They did what they did, and it pretty much shaped me to be what I was outside of my homies from my neighborhood. So I'm not no example for nobody. If you want to take any example from me, take the example of exactly what a motherfucker can do from going from nothing to something. And I'm not a big YouTube channel. For a lot of people, I'm adversity because I don't adhere to strictly positivity. I'm just one of those that use human nature. Like, it's like human nature to get mad and upset. And sometimes you're able to brush it off. And other times you're going to go fist to cut because you're unable to accept the fact that another man is testing you as a man. Me, I'm always rise to that occasion. So I tell fools straight out, you don't want to be like me. You don't want to adhere to the same shit. Get your money. If you got any type of talent, I'm telling you, get out there and get your fucking money. Don't rely on your hood to do nothing for you. Don't rely on another person to do for you. Because at the end of the day, it's only you got to face the consequence of being on the street, having to posse rob or sell dope. The dope game is over. For people that don't really get it, the dope game's over. The feds, the cops, they all up in that shit. You good for a certain amount of time, but as soon as you start murking motherfuckers, they start coming for your head. You seen violent indictment, like they indicted, and that's the second time they indicted them. You see what I'm saying? It's like, can nobody be trusted? And if you are going to get into that, understand the consequences of your action. You will get caught eventually, because dudes is out there snitching for a little bit of maybe a teener. They give up your whole fucking organization without fear of any repercussions, because at the end of the day, to be honest, a lot of shit that's going on, there is no repercussion. This is a prime example. You see my paperwork. I have no problem showing it. A lot of times that's what fools do when they hit the street too, because a lot of hoods ain't believing that shit you came out solid. They don't give a fuck about it. They want to see what it was. Now, you got cats that just openly fucking dropouts on the internet. And I'm not talking about that raising fag, whatever. That fool, people tell me, oh, this fool said he'll go head up with you. That fool get his motherfucking noodles knocked out his head. And that's a fact. But who wastes time with that? Who wastes time listening, going back and forth with cats like that? This other cat, whatever the fuck his name, who cares? These fools are not coming out to do nothing. They're gonna stay in the house with their little girlfriend and their little cats and dogs and wolf their shit from the internet and hope nobody actually finds out where they stay. Me, I don't have time to go search for watches that wasn't about shit in the pen anyway. Because if you're really about anything, this, you can say this is raging. If it's really about anything, you would have did what you did and stay solid. To any homie that's busted right now, just stay solid. Do what you got to do to come home. And if you're in there for the rest of your life, then you got to handle your business. That's a part of banging. But for the ones that don't have to get involved in that, I would skirt it. I'm not saying nothing about gangs. I'm just saying skirt the bullshit. Because at the end of the day, you by yourself. And that's a fucking fact. And I'm your boy Zod. And you can run it how you run it. Just run them numbers up. Let me know what's up with this video. But that's all my take on the North and the South. It is what it is. Only the homies upstate really gotta, you know what I mean? I feel for them. Brothers and sisters lost their life in that struggle. But so did the North. It's just what it is. On that note, I'm your boy Zod. I'm out.
Kneel before Zod!